I've never done stand-up before, but sometimes something in the news happens that just makes you feel the need to stand up. Did you hear that the government recently prohibited the public health agency of our government, the CDC, from using 7 words in making their 2019 budget? Some of you heard about that? Well, that reminded me of George Carlin. So you've heard of George Carlin. So his monologue on the 7 words you can never use on TV is 40 years old. But the words still are a bit shocking. Shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, and tits. Now, it was a kinder, gentler time back then. But people criticized it a lot. There were a bunch of people who criticized the redundancy between the F-bomb and mother F-bomb. And Carlin himself questioned whether tits actually belonged on the list. I have a fondness for some of these words, a personal fondness, and maybe some of you do too. My fondness for, okay, we'll talk later. My fondness for one of the words in particular started when my daughter Carolyn was 5. Okay, stuff happened before then, but it started when she was 5, and it was a Saturday morning, and we were leaving a crowded mall, and I'm holding her hand, and I see her sounding out a word that someone had written in the wet cement, and she looked up at me in all innocence, and she said, "Daddy, what does fuck mean?" Well, there were a lot of people hanging around, and I did the worst thing you can possibly do. I stalled for time. Well, what did you say? And thinking her old man's going deep, she said, "Fuck, Dad! What does fuck mean?" Well, everybody kind of stood there and said, "This is going to be interesting. What's the answer?" And I said, "Honey, it's a very bad word for a very good thing." Carlin's 7 words actually led to a Supreme Court decision that created a safe haven between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. when these words are not allowed. However, our president recently rehabilitated one of these words. It turns out that when you're talking about the country from which you will and won't accept immigration, if you follow the word shit by the word hole, it gets said on TV all the time. What are the new 7 forbidden words? Are they as offensive as shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, and tits? Thank you. I need all the help I can get. Well, the 7 words that you're not allowed to use in the CDC budget are evidence-based, science-based, vulnerable, entitlement, diversity, transgender, and fetus. Now, you can understand why some of these words might be offensive and need to be prohibited in government documents that might be seen by congressional interns or perhaps occasionally looked at by members of Congress. I'm not sure, though, that one of these words actually belongs on the list. Diversity. That's about differences, right? It's about having alternatives. Well, clearly the government needs to be able to use alternative facts when it makes its budgets. What if we took a cue from our president and paired a prohibited word with another word? In fact, what if we prepared one of these newly prohibited words with one of the old 7 words? Would that make them more acceptable? Let's see. Evidence-based cocksucker. Kind of spices up both terms, doesn't it? How about science-based tits? That'll get the high school boys' math and science scores up. The diversity piss. Kind of sounds like a new square dance. I think we're onto something here. The new and the old together. Vulnerable fuck. Evidence-based shit. Science-based piss. Entitlement cunt. Transgender motherfucker, vulnerable, diversity cocksucker, and fetus tits. I'd kind of like to see a motherfucking transgender fetus cunt in the CDC budget. Seems like a good use of tax dollars. Well, what if some of those CDC employees, and particularly the ones that are part of the deep state, what if they decided to do an end around this prohibition? What if they decided to use one of the old prohibited 7 as a secret code word for the newly prohibited 7? Maybe TITS could stand for diversity. The CDC budgets $10 million to expand TITS in the workforce. Or SHIT could stand for science-based. The CDC makes shit recommendations. The new 7 forbidden words: evidence-based, science-based, vulnerable, entitlement, diversity, transgender, and fetus. We might find that sometimes we need to use the old 7 words to protect our right to use the new 7. Or maybe there's a way forward. What if we paired words that are old and new together? And what if together we decided that we're about action and reflection, freedom and responsibility, individual and community, righteousness without self-righteousness, listening and listening again, liberty and justice for all.